taking a critical look at the gaming news of the week. This is Augmented Reality, presented by the Triple S League.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Augmented Reality Podcast for December 7th, 2018. My name is Asheninity. Welcome to everybody today. I'm here, as always, with Cybsidian. And I apologize, we're having no end of technical problems here today for some reason. Discord decided to crap out on us, and so we switched over to Google, and the audio quality is a little bit less, so I apologize for Cybsidian's audio quality here today. If it's a little bit less than normal, I apologize for that, and hopefully there will be no other troubles. But welcome, everybody. If you're listening live today, please say hello in the live chat. Send us your questions and comments there as well. We'll read and respond to as many as we can throughout the podcast. And don't forget to slam that like button to tell us on YouTube that you appreciate this content. If you're listening after the fact on one of the audio-only platforms, we're glad you're here as well. We appreciate your likes and follows. It does take a day or two to get the podcast up on the audio platforms, and today especially, you may want to click that link in the description and head over to the Triple S League YouTube channel, because we're going to have some visual elements today. The Outer Worlds, the new game that was announced by Obsidian yesterday at the Game Awards, we got a trailer for it there, and then they dropped some gameplay on us this morning, so we've got some screenshots. We're going to be taking a look at that. But anyway, how are you doing today, Cyb?
Really annoyed. Like all these technical problems are like, why can't people just make a product that works? It's like,
Notional had asked,
is it so hard to just have a thing that just works?
Yeah.
Like,
no, Notional asked if we had outsourced the podcast to Bethesda. No, actually to Google. But anyway, hello to everybody else who is talking in the chat and has been since like 20 minutes before we started today. Thank you so much for being so hyped for our humble little podcast here. We appreciate you all being there. Hello, Greek Strawberry, Sword Sister, Bluntman, Jason Cropper, Brytex for Life, and Rave, Notional, Dark Hollow. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show today. So we're going to try to get through this without any more trouble. So we are going to be doing a brief recap of everything that happened at the Game Awards last night, but also we're going to be taking a look at the gameplay for the Outer Worlds that dropped this morning, Obsidian's new project. So, what do you want to do first, Cyb?
well, I mean, it's all.
I know it's all kind of one thing, but
It's all kind of one thing, so I don't understand the question. So let's just kind of quickly go over the like more or less what happened at the Game Awards, starting with the Outer Worlds, and then we'll swing back to the new gameplay from the Outer Worlds after we kind of touched on everything. There is some information that has been kind of making its way here or there. It's not been finalized or confirmed yet, but we are hearing that the Outer Worlds is planned for a release in 2019. So big news. 2019 is the goal date, and it looks like their preferred release date is the fall. This looks like it'll come in pretty strongly for the Xbox and for the Microsoft, kind of what they have planned for the summer. They're going to be talking a lot of games this coming summer at E3. They basically own E3 now. Like legitimately, I think they pretty much have stepped in to take control of it. So we might see a significant change in E3 this year, because we only have Nintendo, Microsoft, and that's it. And Nintendo is not going to have a huge presence there other than what they normally do. So this year we saw Microsoft kind of step away from E3, and now from what we're hearing already, it sounds like the talk is that they're going to be stepping into this super hard, and kind of like pushing their all of their stuff at E3, and really kind of like I said, basically taking over the show or running the show. It seems to be their plan. So this is really, really interesting. We might see some more game studios step up and do some more stuff there, but this is all kind of coming off of what basically transpired last night at the Game Awards, and what we're seeing them step forward here with the games that they're offering. So the Outer Worlds is really like looking quite hypey. There's one big crazy disappointment that I have, and that it's first person only, which I was kind of shocked to hear.
Sounds kind of familiar. Yeah.
Again, I don't know why people keep assuming that this is the only way you can play games. It's not, and having an option between the two is always preferable. Period. It just always is. However, it's not as vomit-inducing as some of the games we've seen come out recently. Cough, cough. That one that this was kind of in the news in the past few days.
Yeah, Just Cause 4 has apparently apparently been making people sick. Yes,
it's not just making people sick. It's the fact that they've really that there's some major problem with the way that the FOV and the way that the way that the graphics in does the blur effect.
Yeah, the motion blur,
yeah. It's just kind of crazy. However, we're also hearing some rumors that that they're going to be open to modding. We know that they were pretty happy with, and they were pretty responsive with the modding that took place in Fallout New Vegas. And even now, there were some massive mods that came out for Fallout New Vegas recently, and those mods have really kind of showcased how good Obsidian was at making that game. So the option there is that once we get our hands on any of the modding tools, that modding this into third person will be pretty much a cakewalk at that point. So yeah, having the option is always better. I really wish studios would stop going down this first person only route and not giving us the option because they think that it helps them with some stuff. It doesn't. The numbers are there. You're immediately, when you do a first person game, you're immediately cutting out anywhere between 5 to 25% of the player base. When you do something exclusively third person, you're also cutting out anywhere between 5 to about 15% of the player base, just because of preferences. So when you offer, an option, right away you have a large increase in the amount of people who will play your product because you've given the option to do either or. So yeah, so this is something, again, I don't want to hammer this point too much, but I do want to state it because there's not that much information out of the game right now, and I want to get as much of it out as we can. So we're hearing that they're receptive to the idea of modding. This may or may not have an impact with what Microsoft is there and what Microsoft is doing, and how their takeover of the company is going to affect that. We have heard that there's been some general references to the fact that there may or may not it may or may not be entirely up to Obsidian. So Obsidian may or may not have the complete go ahead on it, or there might be this temptation for Microsoft to say, hey, is there any way we can monetize mods like Bethesda has done? Or maybe they'll see all the negative press that Bethesda's been getting recently and go, maybe it's better if we don't try to do that to the community. So it's like I said, there's a lot of information that's all over the place right now, and I just want to kind of get as much out as we can. Other than that, we'll kind of swing back to this, but that was the big highlight of the Game Awards last night for a lot of people, was seeing a couple of these other things. Atlas, kind of out of nowhere. This game looks really amazing. It's large. It's yet another pirate game, but this one looks like an eternity more fleshed out than some of the other pirate games. Open Thieves Ocean. It's
Yeah.
That wonderful Microsoft title.
I got a major Sea of Thieves vibe from Atlas, but it looks, yeah, you're right. I mean, it's way more fleshed out. It's way more than just pirates battling.
Well, you need to specify, like, are you getting the, oh my goodness, there's nothing to do Sea of Thieves vibes?
No, not that. Just in the style of the game, like, in what it looks like they were. It looks like what Sea of Thieves wanted to be, but didn't quite get there. Didn't even come close, really. But yeah, Atlas looks fantastic. Atlas looks like there's tons to do in it, and I just mean the whole open world survival element, and sort of I got sort of a similar vibe from the graphical style. But other than that, but man, Microsoft actively supports piracy. Yeah, nice. Yes. But yeah, no, I didn't mean that in a disparaging way. I meant it looks like, I guess, what we wanted Sea of Thieves to be.
Yes. Okay. So that's looking really solid, and I was also really impressed with Scavengers. It was just a kind of like it wasn't an actual gameplay footage, but it looks decent. Like, it looks good. I'm pretty impressed with that, and I think that if they can manage to bring what we saw in the trailer and really bring that to the actual gaming experience, we might have a really, really good game with that one as well. But then there's also Journey to the Savage Planet, which again, it seems very, very similar to the Outer Worlds. So this kind of like, there's a theme developing with a lot of games coming out, that open world games, big open places to explore, to do stuff, to have story, and to really build on like role play elements. It seems that that's really starting to become the next big flavor of the week, but it's not just the flavor of the month or flavor of the week, because it's been around for so much longer and so much more. And so I think what we're seeing a shift in gaming, and we're seeing that gamers are happy with the concept of getting more of these types of games and getting them more fleshed out, better built, better created better. So we'll see where this goes from here, when it comes to like how this is going to affect the long term. But yeah, I'm really excited about a lot of these. Plus, I was also really, really, really happy to see Crash Team Racing, and it's this interesting like total remake, but at the same time, it's just it's going to have all of the flavor of the old game, but in a better engine, and that's really interesting to me too, because this is something that can maybe finally compete as far as like the Nintendo scene in that goes. So I'd love to be able to get this on PC. I'd love to be able to get this and just pop online and play with it with other people, because this looks like fun. The other thing that looks like fun is Survived By. That's another great game that I saw last night that I was like, wow, this looks really, really awesome. I'm really I'm really interested to see where this goes now, because this looks killer as well. So I'm really, it was a really good night last night. I was looking at that, and pretty much everything I saw looked either good or looked like it was a big improvement. And the only thing that I didn't really have any concerns. I was a little annoyed with the Mortal Kombat trailer. I mean, how many times can you blow somebody's eyes out through the back of their skull before they die? Or stab them in the heart? Like, I didn't realize that all of the fighters in the new Mortal Kombat game are essentially all now they're all like zombies that are semi-immortal, and you need to like completely explode them before they stay down. I think that's kind of what I was getting. It was over the top, kind of crazy. So that was the only trailer that I didn't enjoy last night. it was like, yes, it was visually, it was quite stunning, but it was like how many times are they going to get back up again after, having large holes put through them? Well, apparently you got to like, shred them or tear apart parts of their body before they stay down. So yeah. I guess that's my fault. Sword Sisters. I'm bringing logic into Mortal Kombat.
Yeah, that's just kind of always. It's always. I mean, it was obviously intentionally over the top, intentionally just
well, it always
crazy.
Is with that
like
game.
Sorry.
It always is with that game.
Well,
like,
yeah, exactly.
That's their genre,
and that's kind of because I mean. The outcry about it when those games first came out about the gruesome over the top violence, I think that's their shtick now. So
that is their shtick. It's like it's a gore game. Some people go watch gory movies. Other people play gory games. But my point in stating that is that was my biggest beef of the night, which is not a beef. I want to make it clear. I'm not dissing the game or calling it crap. I'm just saying that the biggest diss of the night was a minor thing to do with the way that one of the trailers played out, which is their shtick, which is their genre, which is I wouldn't give that game a failing. I wouldn't give it a 1 out of 10 just because I didn't enjoy the gore. I'm either not going to review it because of that, or I'm not going to give it a bad grade because of the gore. The gore is that's their thing. So my point with that is that the Game Awards were really, really good last night. Of course, it was cringy here or there and silly humor, and the some of the presenters were a little bit awkward. Some of the recipients seemed to, some of the recipients were like, I don't really care about this award, and then others were like, couldn't believe that they won and had a hard time speaking. It was really funny overall, in the kind of lighthearted way that you look at this kind of gaming. This kind of stuff is never like smooth, right? It's always cringy. Like EA is always cringy, or sorry, E3 is always cringy at their press conferences and stuff like that. It just comes with the nature of the beast. So if that's my only complaint, then last night was really, really good. And clearly there's a ton of stuff we've got coming up. Like last night I tried to stream Survive By. Unfortunately, the game was not working. Their servers were down or something like that, and I couldn't create an account there to log in. But Survive By looks really great. Atlas, we're going to play the crap out of that game. We're going to play the crap out of Scavengers, A Journey to the Savage Planet, and of course, like Outer Worlds is looking quite amazing at the and we'll touch on that in a few minutes. So basically it was a great night, and gaming overall I think has really profited from this, and I think is getting better. And the fact that you had you had the head of Microsoft, Nintendo, and Sony all come out, stand on the stage, and do a presentation together, that was really cool too. That was like, oh wow, that's really awesome. They can they can put down their thing. And now if they had said, the one thing I really wanted them to say was, we're not going to push microtransactions on kids. If they had said that and made a commitment to that they're going to be respectful in how they sell their products to us. And that's all I'm asking for. You can have $200, $300, collector's edition stuff. I'm not against that kind of stuff. What I'm against is the predatory, loot box kind of crap. And that's really where it needs to stop. It needs to stop. And it would have been really nice if they had done that last night. I would have said that this is a new era in gaming, and we're going to see so many good things. But we're not there yet. We're getting there, but we're not there yet. So yeah, like tons of stuff, tons of content in the future from all these games. We're really excited for in general. Mm-hmm. So that was my basic take on it. Anything from you?
I really enjoyed pretty much the whole night. Yeah, of course, the Outer Worlds, it was exciting to see. I agree, Atlas looks really good. Scavengers looks really good, assuming that it has a good story and they do it well. I think, like, the trailer was really well done. So,
Mm-hmm.
so I'm excited to see what that one is about. Let's see here. The Mortal Kombat trailer was very memorable. Let's put it that way. It's probably not one I'll be playing, but yeah, wow. That's certainly stuck in my mind. We also saw, we saw what the new Far Cry thing was going to be. New Dawn,
I totally forgot to mention that.
The post-apocalyptic thing. So it looks interesting. I don't know if this is just kind of, it's an interesting direction for them to go, the post-apocalyptic thing. I hope this isn't just another new bandwagon that everybody is hopping on, because there seems to be so much post-apocalyptic stuff coming now. Anyway,
well, this one's really different. Like the colors that they're using, the color palette in that game, the over the top like lighting effects and coloring effects, and it really does seem to be quite a bright game. At the same time as like they've got the vehicles, they've got the weapons, they've got the they seem to have the story there. I was kind of surprised to see that they came out with another one so quickly after. That was not just an expansion or a large DLC. This is actually like a full new game in a whole new like world almost.
That happens from time to time though. They probably
cool,
just built it on the Far Cry 5 engine. Like they probably just built the new game.
Yeah, but like they clearly had this plan from the beginning, because they had the surprise character there. So that's really, really, really interesting. Did forget to mention and to talk about, which we can do now, is the BioWare announcement for the next Dragon Age.
Right.
So we got Solus being all god of betrayal and all that kind of stuff, giving this generalized tease. And I hate to say it, but this game is going to be a really long ways away. We're looking at 3 years at the very, very, very least. Like if they rush this out of the gate, we might see it in 3 years from now. Most likely it's going to be 4, because they're going to have, they've got the launch of Anthem, then they've got the next 6 to 12 months of following that up, and then they can kind of more or less start to switch over and put more and more people onto the next that next project. Plus they're rumored to be doing something with Mass Effect before that, whether it's, and what we're hearing is a kind of like a remake or a re-release of all of the stuff. So yeah, there's lots of rumors going around, and I've got to say that, from what I'm hearing, from what I'm seeing, I don't think we're going to be getting anything Dragon Age related anytime soon-ish. Like we're going to be a year or two into the new consoles at the current rate of how they're going. So yeah, can a dragon have a tired face? Yeah, I think so. And I would like to point this out. So Obsidian is still a very small developer, and looking at their animation and looking at their stuff today, the game looks a crap ton better than the last game that both BioWare and Bethesda have put out by a significant leap and bound. And it's like these guys are like a 1/8 the size of either of those other two studios. It's like, how the ever-living hullabaloo do you fail so bad at making a game that you can't compete with an indie studio that's making the exact same kind of game that's managing to make it better than yours in every way, shape, and form, when it comes to like animation and models and that kind of stuff. Like, how do you do that? Like, how do you screw up that much? Like, you come in with like $200 million and you can't compete with somebody who's running on a budget of $2 million? Like, really? Holy crap. That's
a very good question. I wonder if, I mean, obviously, a smaller studio is very motivated to do a good job and make a good product. They, you know, they're not sitting on the piles and piles of cash, and especially Obsidian.
Yes. Yeah.
Is in that position. But I wonder if sometimes studios get too big, that there's so much bloat there that it's hard for them to do things efficiently.
Yeah, that is a common problem.
But
it is
the other thing I was thinking about today is that Obsidian is kind of in a difficult position here. Like, the Outer Worlds has, I mean, and there's no sign that it won't be, but it's got to be really good. Because everybody's kind of looking to them now to be like, give us a good RPG, like, save us from this nonsense that we've been dealing with. And so I kind of feel bad for them to be put in that position where there's all this pressure to do better than the likes of Bethesda and BioWare.
Well, and I mean, they mentioned it in the Game Informer video that went up today, is that there was this 1-2 punch when it came to, these open world explorable games. We had Mass Effect Andromeda that just fell so hard and failed to offer us any repeatable content. And then you had 76 that again has just hit this massive wall, and what we've been looking for, we just haven't gotten from either the studios that normally give it to us. And so that's kind of the sad thing. So yeah.
But anyway, I mean, it does look like it's going to be really good. We'll talk about the gameplay that was released earlier today, like this morning. 15 minutes of gameplay of the game came out. So it's fantastic. The game it's quite far along. We'll talk about that in a bit, though. So some other stuff we saw last night. We saw a new trailer for Rage 2. Kind of had a nap during that. I don't know about you guys. And then we saw a trailer for... It wasn't as entertaining as the first Rage 2 trailer. Like, I don't know. Some parts of it were kind of funny, but I was like, nah, show me something new. Like, what the heck is this game about? And then we got an Anthem trailer that kind of gives us more of the story. Now, I wanted to get your input on this side. Did you find that there was some meaningful content there that you were able to latch onto, or was it kind of meh? Like, what are your thoughts on that?
Well, first, to answer the one question about the budget for Mass Effect Andromeda, it was over 100 million. So it's a lot of money to burn on a project that you can't even make as good as what a noob indie studio does at a much smaller rate. And these were not new people. Like, they had hired a lot of people not with big experience or names behind them. They had hired a lot of people with long and large degrees after their name. So yeah, it's not good. It's not good.
All right.
So, anyways, sorry, what was the other question that you asked?
The Anthem trailer. Your thoughts on the Anthem trailer?
So Anthem is in a it's a curious place. It looks better. It looks like they've kind of worked on a lot of things for it. They definitely seem to have, tried to up the story kind of telling that had been lacking in some of the other trailers. However, their villain did come off as kind of, I don't know. He reminded me a lot of the villain that was in Mass Effect Andromeda, which is bad because I can't even remember the dude's name, or I have to actively think about, like, what was his motivation again? Oh, right. Yeah, he just wanted his crazy authoritarian assimilator, which we seem to be having a lot of those in today's culture.
Yeah.
Make everybody yourself and then rule over yourself. That never goes over well. I don't know why people think that's a good idea.
And I think this is not the first time, and nor will it be the last time we see similarities to Andromeda in Anthem.
Yeah. Now, not to say that I'm not saying that it's a nightmarish proposal. All I'm saying is that the game is still go into this game with like, don't go in expecting a miracle, because there's a good chance you're not going to get one. Go in very, very tentatively. Don't pre-order this. Like, just please don't pre-order this. Like, order it like maybe a day or two in advance, but don't give them money for like any more than a few days ahead of time. Like, you don't want to reward their past behavior. And this goes for a lot of games in the future. Like, I'm definitely not going to be pre-ordering anything from Bethesda. I don't want my private personal details to get leaked out to the internet for
shots fired.
No apparent reason. So yeah, I mean, overall, I'm really like skeptical on what this game is and what it's going to be like, and how they managed to do it. The good news is that they stopped making it. From what I heard is that, so I heard an interesting thing the other day, and I heard that when they first started working on Anthem, they looked at Destiny, because it was Destiny 1 at the time, and said, we're going to make a carbon copy of Destiny, and we're going to put it out, and it's going to be great. We're going to compete with Activision, and EA is going to make a boatload of money. Don't you mean BioWare is going to make a boatload of money? Oh, yeah, that too. I meant that too. It's like, a pirate who's like talking is like, yes, and then we would take over the boat. I don't know why I'm doing an accent. And then we would sink everybody that we hate, and I would, retire on a pile of gold. And you're like, you're like one of the lowly crewmen. And don't you mean we're all going to retire? Oh yes, of course. That's what I meant. Everybody gets a share. Make sure you throw that one overboard first. It's like, that's the kind of feeling and thought that I got. I don't know why I was thinking of pirates so much. It's Atlas and all this pirate games that are coming out. But I think, so they said they were basically looking at Destiny and saying, we're going to copy Destiny. In the last year, I heard this. They said they stopped looking at Destiny. They looked at, the only thing they're looking at Destiny right now is what not to do. And instead, what they're now emulating is they're now looking at Warframe and saying we need to copy Warframe as much as we can. And that's really interesting to me. And so they've included this color system that's very similar to Warframe. They've added some customization options. It's very similar to Warframe. The combat has been tweaked a little bit to make it more like Warframe and less like Destiny. So this is all really, really interesting. That this mega BioWare studio from EA went from looking at Activision's, one of Activision's top games, to looking at this very small Asian studios game, and it's starting to emulate that one more than the other one. That was really interesting.
I just think it sucks that they feel the need to copy anybody anywhere at all.
Well, I know that's and
it's like where is your creative integrity? You literally owned Mass Effect, and you thought you had to go copy something that somebody else was doing? Drives me crazy.
Here's a thought. What if they had made a Mass Effect game in the Milky Way where you're playing as, some humble dude or lady or whatever, who's just trying to you're playing as a prospector out on the far rim, and you discover a new planetoid, and you're trying to set up a base, and so you have a small crew and a team, and you're just exploring this small outer rim area, and you make 3 or 4 of these just gigantic planets with so much to them, and you just sit there and farm and grow your little community, and basically do what Andromeda was supposed to be, but with actual real content that you would enjoy to play.
Mm-hmm. Or a Mass Effect game set in the Andromeda galaxy, but
that was not crap.
All good instead of being crap. That's a thought.
So many different things to do. Instead, and again, I swear, I think that this is going to be one of the biggest failures of this studio, is the fact that they threw away Mass Effect to work on basically what was a clone of a competition game because they thought it would give them more money. And in doing so, they set themselves back several places in the listing of, you know, trustworthy and favorited studios. And they also lost, you know, one or possibly two of their best IPs that the gaming industry had ever seen. And they've lost them they've lost them pretty much permanently. Like there's a good chance that they're never going to be able to recover Mass Effect. Like there's a strong chance. I know people who wore their Mass Effect N7 sweater religiously, and they kept that thing clean and just babied the ever-living crap out of that because that was one of their most prized possessions. And from 1 month to the next, it went from one of their prized possessions to being their work and paint, like painting
their
in the
workout
house.
shirts and yeah.
And it just like suddenly they're like they don't care for it anymore. It's splattered with paint. Like literally, I saw this. Two of my friends have done this recently, and it's just sitting back and looking at it and going, wow, you guys really made a mistake. And I really hope Anthem either comes through or they're able to salvage it or something, because as it is right now, I still have a feeling, and I've played it. Sorry, I'm not supposed to say that. I may have played it in the past, and I may have, you know, I may be on an NDA list, and I've got to say that I don't feel the passion. I don't feel the fire. It's been a while, but I just don't feel it. It doesn't feel alive to me in the way that other games have that I've grown to love. There's just something missing there. And like I said, it's been a while, so I guess we'll see. We'll see in a couple of weeks. We'll see in a couple of months where it sits at. But
yeah.
Well, that's the other thing is, will Fallout recover after the debacle of 76? And that's a good question. They really are going to have to nail it, and they've got we've got about a year to anywhere between a year or two to wait for Starfield, and we've got another 3 to 4 years to wait for the next Elder Scrolls game, and then we have another 3 to 4 years to wait for the next Fallout game. And all I can say is that the modders might be able to salvage 76. It's clear right now that I don't know if Bethesda can salvage 76 for a mass appeal effect. Like I doubt we will ever see that 76 hit like 5 or 6 million players. Like maybe, but I kind of doubt it. Yeah, it's
disappointing. Like, and Bethesda, you're killing us,
but
man.
I feel like the modders might be able to salvage it.
Yeah, but I'm getting so tired of hearing that. Honestly, what the modders will fix it. The modders will fix it. We said that about Fallout 4. We said that about, you know.
Hey! We put out a Fallout 4 mod.
Yeah, you know, but we did the kind of mod that modders should be doing. Modders should be adding content. You know, not
that's what I mean.
Fixing
that's what I mean.
The game. Like when you install a Bethesda game now.
The fixes will always, you know, they'll come. They'll come from both aspects on this. Like they will get this game to a point where they can fix the primary issues with the gameplay and the stableness of the game. I honestly think that because it's not actually that hard. Now that they're working on it, you know, religiously and they're working on it every day. Now things like nerfs and balance patches, again, that's a modder can fix that or tweak those rules, or you might be able to tweak those rules on your private server within, you know, 5 or 6 clicks of a button. So that is not a worry. Like, don't worry about the balance or the, you know, being upset that they've nerfed one thing or the other. Once modders get access to it, it doesn't take more than a few clicks to basically raise or lower the power of anything in the game, or to raise or lower the amount of scrap that you get from this or that, or to make you know, they could make scrap, you know, unlimited, or they could make it, not unlimited. Like there's 1,000 different choices. It's not the gameplay I want them to fix, because the gameplay is actually, when it's not bugging out, the gameplay is actually pretty darn fun. There's more that could be added to it for sure, but at the same time, it's like it was, it's fixable as far as the gameplay goes. As far as like the combat goes, the story, the quests, the interaction, the NPCs, all of this stuff is what the modders will have to fix. And I mean, I think the modders can fix it. I really think they can. Like, it's there, it's doable. Yeah. So, anyways. Yeah.
Yeah. I'm just.
That's where I'll leave it for now.
I'm really salty with Bethesda right now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it makes it so hard to.
We have really tried with this game. We have really tried hard to be supportive and look at the positives, and I just keep feeling like we're getting punched in the gut. I still enjoy playing it, but man, like,
well, now it's like you can't even stream the game without haters coming on and insulting you for streaming a game that people want you to stream. And it's like, look, we're still going to do stuff with it. We're still going to look into working with modders and stuff like that. But at the same time, we're also looking at, one of the things we're going to go back and do is we're going to do a Fallout 4 playthrough with our mod, because we are confirmed it today. We are adding more content to our mod. So we're going to do that. We're going to showcase some other big mods from the community. We're going to do some other stuff like that. But at the same time, it's like they've made it really hard for us to make content and to keep content rolling on it, because it's not only just that the content isn't viewed as much, it's also that we get significant amount of pushback too. And that's the thing that I think they've done the most harm, is they've done a lot of harm to the content creators that have fueled their games. I mean, Skyrim was absolutely 100% fueled by the amazing never-ending mods that have come out about that game. I mean, there's still a new mod that goes up on Nexus for Skyrim every 6 hours. There's a new mod. It's like this 4 mods a day that are going up on the Nexus for Skyrim every single day, not to mention the countless mods that are updated every week, and the tens of thousands of top quality. I mean, it's literally getting to the point where it's like tens of thousands of mods. But
and mods are great. Like, I think mods that add content to the game, add fun stuff. I think that's fantastic. That's fantastic. I hate that modders have to fix things, and that there's when you install Skyrim now, the first thing you should do is go to the Nexus and get the unofficial Skyrim patch that fixes all the problems that are left, like a whole ton of problems of the game. This is a mod. That shouldn't be a mod. That should be coming from Bethesda. That should be built right into the game, in my opinion. Anyway, we should get off this, because I'm just gonna get I'm gonna get really riled up if we talk about this anymore. But yeah, like I'm feeling betrayed by Bethesda right now. It's like, come on, help us out here. But anyway, lots of good comments happening in the chat right now. If you want to keep the conversation going after the live broadcast, we welcome you all to join our Discord community. You can find the link in the description below. It's a place where you can chat with us and other Triple S fans about all the things we love to talk about, and stay up to date about everything we're doing here at the Triple S League. Click the link below to join, and be sure to say hi to us in the welcome channel. I apologize for getting all riled up. We try to keep things positive on this show, and that's what we're going to try to do. We've got good things to talk about now, and by the way, there's we've added a chat. We've added a chat room to the Discord server for the Outer Worlds. And there's already tons of conversation happening there. And as I said earlier, this morning we had the Outer Worlds gameplay drop. 15 minutes of gameplay that was given to, who was it now again? Game Informer. So somebody from Game Informer went over to the Obsidian Studios. I don't know when this happened. It must have.
This happened like a couple days prior to this. So this is where some information had been kind of like, people have been saying, wait for the information. There's going to be some cool stuff coming up about this Obsidian title. And so what we saw was that. So let's go through some of the pictures, because this is from the Game Informer stuff. We're not going to show video because I don't know if we can. So this is going to be, yes, we don't want to get a takedown. So we're just going to show you some general screenshots from it to just kind of showcase what they talked about. Go check out their video. But yeah, this is looking good. Like I said, my only pet peeve about this right now is that it's first person only. Really beg them to really please change. Please don't. Like,
yeah. And if you're listening to this in the background right now, if you're curious about what we are talking about, we are putting some visuals up on the screen right now.
Yeah, so check out the come back and check out the YouTube video. The time code is I don't know,
it's right around 46-minute mark.
Yeah, the 46-minute mark. So the first one, we see that there is body looting that happens. It's not, at the moment, it does not appear as if it's full body looting like we've had in previous games. That is, again, something that you run into when you're not using the Skyrim engine, the engine that Bethesda uses. In the the engine that Bethesda uses, they can track items by a massive amount. You can have, and this is the thing. This is why there's a small stash limit. You can set out about 4,000 items from your stash item, and you can drop them individually in the world of Fallout 76 or Skyrim or whatever, and your computer will track every single one of those items. The game engine tracks all of those items. The reason why you haven't seen full body looting in most games is not because it disrupts the balance of the game. It's because the engines cannot handle that kind of information. They can't handle tracking that much data. So this is something that is sacrificed when you switch it to this newer engine. And I'm not sure what engine they're using right now. All I know is that it's not the Bethesda engine, because obviously it's not the Bethesda engine. So so the looting is going to be lowered. We saw armor, we saw weapons, we saw energy cells, or aka ammo. We saw this adrenaline stuff, which is I think this is probably a healing item. We saw that significantly throughout the video. We saw a little bit of that in the trailer that they put out as well. So this is, their looting system does work. It functions like a lot of other games, like you're going to kill stuff, and then you're going to be able to loot their body. It's not going to be as much. It's not going to be full body. It's just going to be, you're going to get some stuff, but you are getting stuff. You are picking up weapons. You are picking up a lot of cool stuff. So yeah, this is really cool. So moving on to the next picture, we have the one of the companions here, and Ellie is her name, and Ellie is an interesting companion. Right now, the word on the street is that there is no romance options within the game, because again, romance options are difficult, and your engine gives you some consternation when you're trying to code that in, because there's a lot of additional info on this. There's a lot of info on this. Information on when you're tracking that kind of stuff, that the engine is again, it's limited in this regard. Again, why I keep saying that you can't just trash particular engines, because the engine, there are certain things that it does way better than other engines, and there's certain things that engines do that other engines cannot do, period. And this is one of those cases. So we will not see a romance system, because the romance system is really difficult to pull off in Unreal 4. That's the engine that they're using, and it's something that is.
Yeah. Thank you, Rave, for letting us know.
Yeah, thank you, Rave, for pulling that out. So that's problematic. It might be because they don't want to do lewd stuff, but that's not. I would say no, because Obsidian just put out a game that has full body nudity in it. So I really, really doubt that that's their prevailing issue. I think the issue is that the engine is in their way, because Pillars of Eternity Deadfire has full-on nudity in the game. All you have to do is just pick up an item and you can walk around butt naked. So I really don't think that that's the problem here. That's not the problem here. So, all right, moving on to the next one, we've got a return of something that we saw in the original Fallout 1 and 2, and I'm so happy to see this return, and this is the dumb questions that the protagonist can ask. So if you put your intelligence score so low that you're considered a, basically borderline, incompetent in the mental capacity.
So these and you can see it on the screen here. It's a little small, but you see it a little bracketed word "dumb" in front of the dialogue option. It's kind of like, indicating this is unlock. You have this option because you're dumb.
Maybe make the call at all.
Yeah. So these options will only show up if you have a very low intelligence score. Is that how it works?
Right now, they have not cemented the, we'll call it the special system, the character traits. They have, and we'll have a picture later on that kind of shows a little bit of what they have, but it's not concrete yet. So it's still, they stress that it's still up in the air. They're still playing with some of the names and how it all kind of like is going to affect things. They know more or less what it's going to affect, but they're still playing with it as far as like the presentation of it. So yeah, there is a stat that affects your intelligence, and if you have it low enough, then all you're able to do is dumb answers. Is the kind of where they're where they're leaning towards.
It doesn't look like you can only do dumb answers, but you have the ability to do dumb answers.
Yes,
from what I see here, it looks like you have
theory. Yeah, the theory with Obsidian has been for a while now that they want to give you an option to resolve most things in at least 3 to 4 ways. So you can do violent, you can do, non-violent, you can do, smart aleck or smart ass, or you can do, just a stupid thing. The text and the dialogue in Fallout 1 and 2 were really, really good, and they were full of dark humor, and it was like really, really full of dark humor. Like in the first game, you had a lot of jokes about cannibalism, and you could play a character who was too stupid, and it was basically like everybody talked to you like they talked to you like you were a child, and you could kill children and like all this kind of stuff that were in the Fallout 1 or 2. The two main guys behind those 2 games are now the 2 guys that were behind this game. So expect more of that. This is going to be huge. Like I said, this game is top on my list for good reason.
And just look at this character's face. Like,
yeah.
This
head and shoulders
good. Like
above what Andromeda gave us. Yeah. Head and shoulders above it. And again, these guys are working on a $2 million budget. Less than that. Up until now, and this has been just put together. Like, imagine another year of like polish on top of this.
Yeah, no kidding. Hey,
and 11 months ish. So,
HTK Gaming, it's not our fault you always get here an hour late. Sorry, man. You're gonna have to rewind to the beginning. We're not starting over. I just wanted to say, Dark Hollow. You wonder if they will let this game be mod friendly. We talked about that a little bit earlier on, and our impression is yes, that it will be.
So here's the thing. It's easy to mod Unreal games. It's not. I mean, it's not super easy. They've made it quite secure. So if the game is like, for instance, always online, then it's very hard to mod the game. And Epic has several ways of detecting edits and stuff like that. However, there is some tools to edit it on client side or post client side, and what that is it basically hooks into the graphics card and it tweaks graphics in the graphics card. So it's not tweaking. So your computer is running the graphics of what you're seeing in Unreal, and then the computer steps in and a third-party program reapplies a graphical overlay on top of what your graphical engine or your graphics card is processing at the time. It's basically a fancy way of saying that you can tweak stuff visually that goes outside of the realm of what you would normally be able to tweak. So that is something that is available to the Unreal Engine. So there's a considerable amount of modding that can happen with this game, and we do know that Obsidian is fairly friendly with modders. Most of their games are moddable or have a presence on. I mean, Pillars both have, I think Alpha Protocol too. All of those things have a presence on Nexus mod site. So it's really close to being, good. So can we go to the next picture here?
Sure. I just want to. Yes, you're right, Rafe. She does look like ScarJo. I see it now. And yes, yeah. she looks annoyed, Notional, and that's a good thing. She actually it's an actual real looking facial expression. Yeah, exactly. Okay, next one. Lock picking here.
All right, so the lock picking, there's not at the moment from what they showed in the thing, you basically just walk up to a door and you press a button and you hold the button and then it opens the lock. So not a lockpick mini game.
No bobby pin. No.
Again,
fidgeting the lock picks with your thumbsticks.
Again, this comes down to the fact that Unreal doesn't have a good way of doing like mini games, which again, why you have to understand that there's major differences in engines, and when you try to replicate something in one engine, you're not always going to get the finished product. You can't just copy it over. It doesn't work like that.
I was being sarcastic. I freaking hate lockpick mini games.
So you just hold it, and after about 9 seconds or so,
9 seconds seems like a long time, unless it's like there's a risk of getting caught, which I suppose.
No. What you see here is that there's a requirement. So you have a requirement of skill, and you also have a requirement of resources to open certain doors. So the higher your skill in reference to the lock, probably the faster that lockpick is going to move.
Yeah, it makes sense.
So if you have a 40 and the lock is a 20, then you're going to pick it probably twice as fast as if you had a 20 to a 20. So this is something that just by looking at this and by knowing what they've been working on, I'm pretty sure that this is what you're going to see in the final product. A lot of this stuff can change. What you're seeing in this stuff is still very early alpha. This is not in the beta phase yet. There's still a lot of key factors to the game that they haven't finished confirming. So this is something that please don't lock this stuff into your mind as like this is 100% of how it's going to be. They're still in the phase where they can where they may tweak or change some of this as we go by. All right, next picture, we're going to see the intimidate skill, or not skill, but the option to intimidate in conversation, if I can say that word correctly. So this is kind of cool just to know that it's there. Again, this is requiring you to have an associate level of skills. After you see this, if you like I said again, if you go back to Game Informer, you watch the video. After they have this moment here, there was this success thing pops up. So if the success thing pops up, then there's a good chance that you may not always just have an immediate success, that you may fail at it, and if you fail at it, then that means you're going to get shot down on that kind of stuff. So that's really good. All right,
again, look at the face here. Like, this looks so good. Oh man. Okay.
All right. So next one is we have floating damage numbers. So this feels like basically this game feels like they took Fallout they took BioShock and they took Borderlands, and they threw them all in a blender and made a pure, refined juice nectar of the Outer Worlds. So this is good. I think this is good. So there's some pretty cool functions that they can have in here. All right, next one is going to be the we're going to see one of your companions using a melee hammer. There are melee weapons in this game. We have we're going to show some later on down down here.
And one thing they talked about in the actual voiceover of the video is when you use a melee weapon, you can do like a sweeping strike and strike multiple enemies at the same time, which is really good because I keep trying to do that in Fallout and it never works. Like slashing my sword across 3 enemies and only one of them takes damage and the other 2 just punch me in the face. It's like, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. The next one here is going to be the perk system.
Yeah. Now, so this is interesting. They've got this fears system in the game, which operates like a perk. As you can see,
it's a negative. So what you get, you're taking on a negative. But when you take on a negative, you're going to get an extra perk point to spend on your character creation, which we have not seen yet. Not your creation, but your character customization in your basically power. So you're taking on a little bit of a weakness when you're dealing, in this case, with the fear of fighting these animals. But you're getting a reward for a perk point, and that perk point is going to go in and make your character stronger in other areas. So, but this is also a bit of a play on this because there's going to be a lot of this fear mechanic. So you're going to, if you have too much fear, then you're not going to be able to handle certain fights, or you're going to run away, or you're going to, they made a really funny joke about how you could be afraid of fire. Frankly, I think most of us are afraid of being burnt to death. Turns out that, skin is not, does not do well in open flame.
Typically not, yeah. No. By the way, I mean, when you're done listening to this, definitely go over to Game Informer and watch that. Watch the gameplay video when you can. The visuals are it's good to see, but also the guy who is sort of narrating has some good commentary about what he saw.
Yeah, because he went to the actual studio. They played the game in front of him. He did not get a chance to play the game, but they played it in front of him, and they gave him the footage from it. So, all right. So moving on to the next one, we see this is sort of it's not really a stealth effect. It's like a time slowdown effect. You can basically line up certain shots. If you're standing still, this power activates a little slower than other ones, and I don't know if I'm explaining that right. So basically, it's like,
well, it's like an ability you have. It's an ability you have to sort of slow down time and line up shots.
Yeah, and when you line up a shot, you do extra damage on it. So it's kind of like entering kind of like a mini stealth state. When you're treating it when you're doing that at a long distance thing. We don't know exactly how stealth works, or if stealth is in the game, or how that's going to impact the game. It's that's still up in the air at the moment. But what we see is we can see that you can line up and get big boost damage to crits and hits and stuff like that when you do this with this time slowdown ability thing. So it's very interesting. We're keeping definitely going to watch that, see where that comes out here. So all right, next one is going to be just showcasing some of the weapons that you can pick from. We see that we have a good selection of them now, and what we're expecting to see them, we're of course expecting to see them expand on this going forward too. So there's a good chance that we will see a much bigger availability of weapons. There were weapons that you could pick up while you were that we saw here or there that you could loot. So these are just the weapons that the person had on them, and clearly there is more on top of that. So having the ability to kind of have a large selection of weapons is a really, really cool thing. and then we see that there's room for additional 3 more slots at the very least. So it looks like you can walk around with 7 weapons in total. Whether or not you need to unlock, more and more of an ability to sort that, that's up in the air too. And that is also a common theme that Obsidian has done in previous games. This is a very common thing that they've done in previous games, where you have your weapon loadouts and you progress. One of the ways you progress is by unlocking the ability to have more weapon loadouts or to specialize into weapons. So this is really cool, because I feel that we're getting a proper, like a real proper RPG, like lots and lots of real RPG elements, like the stuff that we haven't seen in many, many years from any of the big players out there, from the big companies out there. So this is really cool, and I cannot wait to see where they go with this, because I'm really excited. All right, next one is going to be more loot. This one is, I think, showing a weapon or
what we've got on here.
Oh, armor, right. So he's got. So in this one, he's picking up heavy ammo, and then he's also picking up low pressure mining gear, which again, we can assume that this might be an outfit, or it might just be something that it might just be vendor trash. But this is pretty cool. And also, I want to point out this lighting effect here. That is wicked. Like that is pretty awesome. Like that is killer.
That's really cool. No.
Yeah.
This laser scythe thing is pretty awesome looking.
Yeah, that is pretty baller. So yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And the last one we got is
the healing
is the
bong.
the new form of healing is going to be where you bring this thing up to your mouth and you kind of breathe it in, and like this is that like between that 1930s and 1900s kind of look. So this this combination of, like I said, this BioShock feeling plus this Fallout feeling, it's got everything, man. This is seriously good. But yeah, this is how you're gonna heal yourself. These are the new stim packs. So when you're low on health, you take this thing, and there's the little glass bubble to the right is full of like a liquid or a smoke or a vapor, and you breathe it in, and that is what heals you. So that's really cool. I like this effect. I think it's really cool. I could tell that I'm going to have some motion sickness problems with this, but again, it's not the first game. I'm going to have to sacrifice my
just turn off the motion blur.
General health for
you're a true gamer, sacrificing your health to play games. Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly
what's going on.
So that's the last image we have. Some other notes that I got from watching the gameplay video. There's going to be a fairly robust character creation. That wasn't showcased, but the guy talked about it. Now, unfortunately, it's going to be all first person, so you're not going to see your character a ton. This sounds so familiar, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's almost as if this is a running theme in recent games. It's like
So anyway, character creation, but first person. So
there is a kill cam in it. So I suspect that you'll see your character every time you make a special kill shot. We saw it activate once. I saw a character who, it was a dude. He didn't look like either of the other 2 companions, so I'm assuming that was the player character that they were using at the moment when the kill cam went and did its thing. Like I said, I think I'm not 100% on that, but if they add it to the game, it's going to be there all the time. So, yeah.
I would say that they should just put mirrors in everywhere, but that would kill your performance, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, overall, like overall, I think like we're really seeing a good thing. We're seeing that this is kind of reminiscent. You know what other game this reminds me of is Knights of the Old Republic 2 and 1, because you have your own ship, and it's your ship, and you can travel with your ship. You can go up and go to different. It seems to be quite heavily referencing that we can go to other planetoids. We can travel from place to place. We get these calls while we're in the ship, and we can respond via the terminal. And so this is taking all of the best stuff that we've seen from Obsidian in years past, and it's all coming to fruition in this game. And again, this is just the first one. Like, this is just the first one. They have the funding now. If this game does well, if this really knocks it out of the park, if this is like, you know, one of the best games of 2019 or 2020, whenever it comes out, which again, we're hearing that this game is planned to release in 2019. It's not confirmed yet, but this is the confirmed rumor going around many places. We would definitely will see this in. We're definitely going to see this in 2019. At the moment, unconfirmed, but somewhat confirmed. This has been told to. They told this to Game Informer. I have this on good authority, and I've also heard this from another contact who's familiar with Microsoft. So this is 3 different sources are all kind of confirming that right now, tentatively, this thing is planned for 2019. That there is a chance that it could be delayed. That's why they haven't. Obviously, that's why they didn't come out with a date. They haven't confirmed anything. But as of right now, they're optimistic, very optimistic, that we're going to get our hands on this in 2019. Mm-hmm. So that's really cool. I'm really excited about that. I'm really happy to hear that. So we're gonna state that now, because, like I said, it's being reported by multiple people, multiple agency, multiple media groups, multiple people who have spoken with Obsidian are giving the nod that it is planned for 2019, but they haven't made an official announcement date. That'll come probably later, and I suspect that we will see more of this game, more of the gameplay coming out over the next couple of months. We will see this as a reoccurring thing. They are going to hit this pretty hard into the community, and we will see where it goes from here. So I'm really excited about this. I think this is really good. So yeah, so this is really exciting.
Right.
We'll probably load this up as a separate little bit as well onto YouTube, just kind of going through this. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah. The other thing, there are apparently going to be quite a few companions you can choose from, each of which gives you different buffs. So, and then everything else was pretty much covered by what you said.
Yeah. So definitely keep your eyes on this one. I mean, I'm stoked for it. I think this is probably going to be one of the best things of 2019, 2020.
It's
and
looking very promising thus far. Yeah.
Well, not only that, like I said, this means that this studio that's been struggling for so long, for so many years, is finally, like I said, if this does really well, this studio is going to become one of the pinnacle studios of the new Microsoft platform. They are going to baby that studio. They're going to give them everything they could want, everything that they need to keep pumping out these amazing games. And these are not people who have grown tired of the industry. These are not people who have given up hope of making good games. They're people who suffered from the inability to make the best games that they wanted due to cash restraints and getting screwed over and all this kind of stuff. We're finally going to see a studio that's going to do this. So over the next like 4 or 5 years, we're going to see another game and a new game coming out from Obsidian in the future, and I think it's going to be even better than this one by a long ways. And this one's already looking like a top contender for 2019. Like the only game, like if this comes out and this has got the feel, this has got the story, this has got the gameplay, the only thing that I think that can contend with this one is going to be Cyberpunk 2077. And if that is the competition, and these are the 2 top contenders for the next year, then just imagine what we're going to see from these 2 studios again in the future. So I'm stoked, man. This is great news, and so unexpected. Like 2 weeks ago, never would have thought of this, but now they came out hard swinging, and they're going to keep on. They're gonna keep on swinging hard, and you know, I'm cheering for them because this isn't the game we deserve. This is the game we need. in my Batman voice. So
it's definitely a breath of fresh air in the current era for sure.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, and that's what I'm hearing from multiple reports from everybody who's seen this, who's getting their hands on this. This is the prevailing thought. It's like, this is what we've been waiting for. This is the what we have been anticipating, and now we're finally going to get our hands on something like this. And like I said, I can't wait to see what they've got planned for the next few installments for the next game. So, so
HTK
this
Gaming
is good news,
says,
man. This is good news.
yeah. HTK says, seems like Intimidate is one of many speaking stats, though, maybe Flirt, Persuade, and Intimidate. Yeah, more than likely. Like, there will be, different, depending on your skills in various attributes, depending on the level, of your skills, and it looks like it's going to be like a 1 to 100 scale or something like that. It'll unlock various dialogue options.
Mm-hmm.
So, that's really good. Really, we see... Haven't seen that a lot recently, but I mean, we've seen that definitely in RPGs before. Let's see. Did you guys see them talk, or did you guys talk about them saying "Don't break it" on the reveal trailer last night? No, I missed that. I have to go watch it again.
Yeah.
I just hope Microsoft won't force Obsidian to put their games on the W Store only, Windows Store, I guess. We already saw Epic tried that.
I talked about this last night, but let's reiterate it again. So Microsoft is planning to relaunch their current Windows Store for the new Xbox. They're going to be tweaking it. Unfortunately, yes, it's going to be with Windows 10. However, Windows 10, as far as the gaming side, is going to receive this massive upgrade and update for when the new console goes live. Right now, they're working on it. Phil talked about it last night. He talked about how they're trying to incorporate this, and going forward, we've heard this again from a couple of places have been talking about this. Basically, the experiment they've been running has been going well. They've identified several big problems with the whole Windows 10 gaming kind of application, and they are working on fixing it and improving it. And they're looking at a lot of things that people complain about Windows 10, saying, I don't like this, I don't like that. These are big problems for me. This is why I don't want to upgrade. And they're looking at all of those, and they're planning to, if they can't fix it and make it good, then they're going to remove those features that get a lot of complaints. Because why keep something when it just makes people not want to play with it or use it, And so we're seeing a substantial change in the way that Microsoft is doing business, and that is that they're realizing that they don't need to that they're not pushing useless junk onto us. They're focusing on giving us options and giving us the ability to take what we want. So going forward, right now, I know it's kind of a mess. And it's not the greatest. However, going forward, I suspect that the Microsoft Store and the Microsoft system is going to just get better. But definitely don't take my word for it. Don't take their word for it. Basically, again, get involved. Send them messages or every time somebody talks about it, let them know that you support that you're kind of behind that. And where you can, make fun of them where you can. I did a joke last night on the stream, and then I put it out again today. And that is basically that. So last night I was watching, and Jeff Kaplan was walked out, and he gave the.
You might have to explain who that is.
Jeff Kaplan is the head at Blizzard, and he was giving the award, or announcing the award for Game of the Year, which went to God of War. Spoiler alert, went to God of War. And so I was going to hop on Twitter and tweet him on his Twitter account saying, hey, good job giving the Game Award to God of War. Really liking the single player offline game. I think it's really awesome. But I discovered that Jeff Kaplan does not have a Twitter account. What gives? Does he not have a cell phone? It's just
Must be the problem. Must be the problem.
like doesn't like he has cell phones, right? He has cell phone, right?
Out of phones. Yeah.
So yeah. Anyways, thought that was absolutely hilarious. But yeah, I think like overall last night felt really good. I think Microsoft is definitely stepping up their game, and we hear more and more problems with Sony every day. So yeah, this is going to be hilarious. So we will see. I'm tentatively my every couple of weeks my mood towards Microsoft improves a little bit. They're definitely winning back ground that they lost, that they didn't just lose, that they like salted and burned a couple of years ago, and now things are finally starting to grow there again. So
Well, it goes to show that this isn't necessarily the end for Bethesda either.
No.
Considering Microsoft's come back from this, and who knows? I mean, maybe there's hope for BioWare too.
Yeah, they're and that's always we mentioned this on Tuesdays. There's a lot of negativity in the gaming industry right now. There's a lot of problems, and they're big problems. They're not little problems, and people are absolutely 100% justified in getting upset. And with the whole loot box thing, we don't want the government to get involved, because the government's going to get involved, and the next thing you're going to see is they're going to regulate it and control it like they do with smoking or with other things. It's like with smoking is a good example. It's like smoking turns out was really bad for your health, and for some people that are especially susceptible to lung cancer, it cut their lives short by sometimes 50 years or more. And you'd think that if a government really cared, they'd step in and they'd find a way to just get rid of it completely, like just phase it out completely. But instead, we've had this system where, I mean, for a very long time, the smokers went up. It became more popular. The more government got into it, the more smoking became popular, which was really strange, because they got into it to kind of curb it, or at least that's what they said. But then they make a lot of money off of taxes, and then there's all these bureaucratic positions and jobs that are established, and so I'm saying we do not want government to get involved into gaming. We don't want the government to start taxing every hour that we spend playing games, for our health, or for treatment options for people who get addicted, or this kind, like it's no end of bad to do this. We don't want that to happen. And somebody, one of our recent videos, thought we were encouraging this to happen. No, we're warning you against this. We're warning the industry. If you don't fix this loot box thing, you are going to be regulated by the government, and it's not going to end well for either the gamers or for you. Like, don't do that. It's terrible. But honestly, some things have been getting better, and we see some silver lining in the future. There's lots of good places. There's lots of problems right now, but we just gotta keep holding people to the fire, and making sure that we don't just let people walk all over us.
And 2018 has showed us that the community...
It's been a rough year.
It has been a rough year, but one thing that it has shown us, and hopefully has shown the big companies, is that our gamers making their voice heard and protesting this kind of thing does make a difference. It works. Mm-hmm. Bethesda's sending out canvas bags to people. There's other examples too. I'm not coming up with off the top of my head, but we've talked about this multiple times this year. This works. Tweet at these companies, tell them what you're not happy about, tell them what you want, and it makes a difference. And it shows other companies too that well, guess what? If we don't like it, we won't buy it. So make something that we like. Anyway, hope you all enjoyed the Game Awards last night. I know there were some disappointments. Some people were not thrilled about all the reveals, like that weren't too excited about it, but a lot of people did enjoy it. So anyway, that you also enjoyed our pre-show that we did. That's up live on the channel right now if you want to go listen to that. Well, I guess a lot of what we talked about is kind of moot now, but you know, it's there if you're curious about it. And I also want to thank you all for supporting this show and for the great conversation that's happening in the chat. Thank you especially to our Patreon supporters, Old Man Manson, Jeranon, and our anonymous supporters as well. Don't forget to slam that like button and also hit that sub button if you appreciate this content. If you are listening after the fact on SoundCloud, you're right. You know what, David Gonzalez, we didn't mention Borderlands 3, and that's because there was nothing on.
But we will get into that. We will get into that probably on Tuesday. We'll get into that. It's just there's just too much all going on at once. But we will talk about Borderlands 3 on Tuesday, or we might make a weekend video depending on what other news pops up. So
yeah, absolutely. I was a little surprised that there was nothing for Borderlands 3, but there was nothing at the Game Awards about that. But we're anticipating hearing something on that soon. Anyway, if you're on the audio platforms, thank you for liking and subscribing, and feel free to join us on Tuesday at noon Pacific Time, 3 p.m. Eastern Time for the live show where you can interact with us and other listeners and be a part of the discussion. That's at the Triple S League YouTube channel, link in the description. The Augmented Reality Podcast is a presentation of the Triple S League. Check out our YouTube channel for game guides, reviews, comedy, news updates, and tons more quality gaming content. My name is Ashinity, and on behalf of Subsidian, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you next week. And to those of you who are saying thanks in the chat right now, you are welcome. We're so glad you appreciate this content. And we will talk to you soon.